We're going to talk about your book in a moment, your new book. But first of all, I know in the book you talk about being an unused substitute, a bit like Ronaldo last night, the match that Manchester City won the first title in 44 years on, and you didn't get on. But I'm guessing you didn't walk down the tunnel.
Yeah, but I wasn't the player that Ronaldo was, so we can, put that aside for a minute. But yesterday it was so frustrating just because Ronaldo, made it about him. The team got on a great run against Spurs. Ten Hag had problems with him pre-season as well, not wanting to sell him or keep him. The team's been doing really well without him starting, so to do that, it was just unprofessional.
Thing is, in your book, you just went morning, by the way.
Morning.
In your book, you talk about kind of the mentality of the top player. I can't remember the initials you give to them. Is it TP or top man or something like that? And the highest paid. HP. Yeah. Not the source. HP, highest paid. So you kind of have that person in the room, in the changing room, that kind of everyone gravitates around and pays a bit of respect to.
Yeah.
If he is that, is he still that guy then? In that dressing room, do you think?
Ronaldo is one of the greatest ever players to play football,
yeah,
and he still holds that weight for sure. Today is a little bit different just because the team won. When a team's winning without you, that's when the self-doubt just starts to set in. But Ronaldo's still Ronaldo. If Man United don't want him, someone else will. I just think he's created a divide in the dressing room.
How much does it hurt when, whether you're Ronaldo or, no offence, Micah Richards, when you suddenly realise you're not as wanted as much?
Yeah, I think that is the tough part. I was so fortunate to make my debut for Man City at 17, for England at 18, youngest ever defender. And then by the time I got to about 25, injuries started to set in, form wasn't as great. And then you can just see like the difference in how people sort of treat you. So you've gone from being the main star to, oh, Micah's around the bench, or he's not playing at the level he should be. And people just change. And I think that's what's happened a little bit with Ronaldo. Because the spotlight's not on him, he doesn't like that. And it is difficult. But the thing is, Ronaldo, he's 37 years of age. He's done absolutely everything. He doesn't need to be doing this anymore. And we all know he wants to play. You don't get to his level without wanting to play every single time. But this time it's about the team and not him.
Mikey, you got a serious set of shoulders on you.
NFL?
I mean, when you walked in, I was thinking, you're big. Have you always been that, size?
I think it's because I've had so many knee injuries. I had like 5 knee operations, and I can't run anymore. So I go a lot to the gym. I do a lot of HIIT sessions.
I wasn't suggesting you're overweight.
Literally, I was just. Am I looking a bit plump on TV? I think it's just the shirt.
So you've worn the right colour.
Far be it from me. Do you know, you very boldly, I think, in the book, talk about some of the things I think that we never get to talk to players when they're playing. OK, that's really, we never do we? No, they're very protected. But you talk very openly about the money. And those days when suddenly you get a check and you're like, this is what I'm getting paid?
Yeah, I think, context, you have to put in context. I'm from Leeds in Chapeltown, where I don't want to say, oh, it's the hardest life ever, but it is difficult at times. So you go from literally earning no money to being like a superstar within 3 years, earning ridiculous amounts of money.
Do you remember a day when you're going, that I'm getting paid? Do you remember one of those?
Yeah, I remember that, because we get paid monthly, you see footballers. And I think at the time when I was on £80 a week, and then you go up. And then when I would play for England, you get the big contracts. And then you get paid monthly, and then the first paycheck I got, I just couldn't believe it.
Oh, do you mind saying?
Yeah, I don't mind saying. Well, I was on £50,000 a week, which after tax at the time, he was coming out with £100 and odd pounds a month. And an 18-year-old who has literally not had financial planning. Luckily, I had good parents. My parents always said, just make sure you have property. I've done a lot of charity work as well to help, because I always think the people who have been in my position who just want that chance. So I'm always about, well, if they're working hard, let's give someone a chance. But when I first got that paycheck, it was mind-blowing. And I think a lot of professional footballers don't know how to deal with that.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I want to touch on as well is, because you all know that connection with fans that you just touched on there, and the charities, as one of the happiest pundits, the happiest people on TV. You're very positive all the time, aren't you? We love your laughter.
We'll try and change
banter.
it. We'll try and do it. We'll do your best.
Behind that, there is the difficulties, isn't there? I mean, the fact that you had to cut short your career at the age of 31 after a couple of years of injuries. Just how hard was it? And to tell us the story behind the smiles almost that's told in the book.
Yeah. So I played time at Manchester City. That was going well. Someone took my place there, so I had to go on loan to Fiorentina in Florence, which was absolutely beautiful. You know, I came to Aston Villa.
All you could say was brava, though.
Sorry?
You didn't learn the language.
Bravo, yeah, a little bit. You speak Italian?
No.
Well, there's no point in
Being paid to play.
But then I came back to Aston Villa, massive club. I thought, you know, fresh challenge, back in the Premier League, I'm going to give it my all. And after 4 months, started getting little niggling injuries, my knee started blowing up. And then that's when I knew my career was starting, it was like beginning, because I'd go out and train and my knee would be swelling up. So Tim Sherwood left, who was Aston Villa manager at the time. He brought in Remy Gards, brought in a new fitness coach that just didn't agree with my body. So I was at Aston Villa for four years, and I only played in the first season and then 2 games in the second season. And then the last 2 years was an absolute nightmare. And I'm the most positive person ever. I literally am. I always like to see the positive in everything, glass half full type of person. But I was going into training and I was putting on this persona, trying to get everyone else up. But really, I was struggling. And I never struggled because I always think, and footballers, they don't really talk about, you know, mental health or feeling sorry for yourself. And I never feel sorry for myself. But I found myself in that position and I didn't know how to deal with it. It was only one of my friends said to me, how bad is your life from 1 to 10? And I was like, to be honest, it's not that bad. You know, family's good, got a good job, and works. Yeah, everything's good. But this part, I said, well, look at all the people who have not got something to eat. And then that mindset just changed straight away and tried to think about the best possible outcome rather than the worst.
That's why you've brought so much joy to our studio.
Yeah, it's energy, positivity.
And well done you for not letting Charlie fat shame you. No,
this is muscle, this
I'll tell you what, a lot of it happens in the industry because you talk about it in the book, so that's really fascinating.
I'm going to get you another official award now. It's the best hand-waving guest of the day. It's official. I'm going to give you this.
Okay.
You can't read it, there it is.
Thank you, Micah. There you go.
Best hand-waving guest
award
of the
you've
day.
ever got.
Wow,
Micah's
what an honour.
Don't concentrate on the
Micah's
words.
book, The Game, is out on October the 27th. You're watching Breakfast. It's 8:59.